Dímelo, mi gente, ¿qué lo que? Beautiful day in Miami. Just taking a quick break from my day job to shoot this video. Shout out to my day job. I'm very much still working for an insurance company back in Connecticut. I do it remotely, so shout out to them. Because if it wasn't for that job, I would not be able to live here, and I love living here. But I just want to do a quick video on why I see Dominican identity differently than most other Dominicans. So the other day I went to On the Rocks, which is a bar here in North Beach. I went over there with my boy Eugenio. Dímelo, Eugenio. He is also Dominican, and he's from here. He grew up in Miami, and I thought it was super interesting. So we went to On the Rocks. We were watching the NBA basketball games, and we had a really good discussion about race, nationality, the diaspora as a whole. Um, and it was good. It was good. One thing that stuck out to me was how your thoughts on race and nationality, and specifically this Dominican discourse in general, is gonna, depending on where you're at. Like if you grew up in the United States, or if you grew up in Dominican Republic, or if you were born in the Dominican Republic and then came to the United States earlier, like everybody's gonna have different perspectives on this topic, and I find that super interesting. So for me, from my personal perspective, right, um, I was born here in the United States. My parents are 100% Dominican, both of them. They were both born in Samana. I was born here in the United States, and then I also have an English last name. I was raised in Connecticut, and my grandparents spoke English, so it's like there was a lot of contradiction there already growing up. I knew very very early on that race was going to be a thing that I was going to have to navigate through, especially with speaking Spanish and Dominican culture at home, and then stepping outside. In Connecticut is very very white, very American, just basic American, like basic Northeast. I'm very Northeast biased. So if you're watching this on the West Coast, like everything in Northeast is like what I consider America. So like Connecticut is just like that's just like what I think of when I think of America. So it's super interesting because it's like in in Connecticut, I wasn't able to navigate race the way that Eugenio, for example, is able to navigate race here in Miami. So Eugenio is, he's a lot lighter than me. He looks what you would think of the stereotypical Dominican. He looks like a mixed Dominican, right? So here in Miami, he could be very fluid with his identity. Like a lot of people would take a look at him and they would know that he's Hispanic or Latino right away. That's not the case for me. That's definitely not the case. That definitely wasn't the case for me in Connecticut. Here in Miami, sometimes depending on the neighborhood, depending on where I'm at, sometimes it could happen. Sometimes I'll get recognized as a Latino, Afro Latino. Most of the time, that's not what's going on. But it was super interesting because like Eugenio even said it himself. He was like, if he was in Texas, right? If he was just like in some rural Texas neighborhood or rural Georgia, um, he wouldn't have that same luxury as he does here in Miami. People would just look at him and automatically assume that, think that he's black, black American. So I just thought that was super interesting. But from my perspective, like this is why I see Dominican identity differently, because like I grew up in the United States in a very very white area of the country. There were other Dominicans too, but it was like it was it's not New York City. I didn't grow up in New York City. So it's super super interesting because like race, I knew that I was gonna have to deal with race, and I was gonna have to navigate race right away. Where it's like a lot of the people here, a lot of people here in Miami, Afro Latinos here in Miami, cities like Miami, like it's easier to navigate these spaces, like your identity, like it's easier to navigate. But I just thought that was super interesting. I just wanted to do a quick video about it. If you guys have any experience about that or any thoughts on that, I would love to hear it. Just write them down in the comments. But I also link a an essay that I wrote on this yesterday. So yeah, I'm gonna go finish work and maybe go out tonight. somebody was telling me about this spot in it's like Sweet Liberty. I think it's Sweet Liberty. Might be Sweet Liberty, Miami. If that I don't know if that sounds correct. Let me know. But yeah, I might head out there today. Who knows? But yeah, leave your thoughts below. I'll catch you on the next one.